Hey guys, tonight we drift into one of those half-forgotten evenings that history itself barely dares to whisper about. You know the kind. The air feels too still, the sky feels too close, and every sound in the dark seems to be carrying a message you're not supposed to hear. This is the night before Pompeii's last day on Earth. And let me warn you straight away, you probably won't survive this one either. Not because volcanic ash is about to bury you, but because I intend to lull you so deeply into a haze of drowsy historical suspense that your eyelids might collapse under their own weight before we're done. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, drop a comment telling me where you are and what time it is for you right now. I love seeing someone lying in bed in New Delhi while someone else is curled up on a couch in Sao Paulo. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You walk the narrow stone streets of Pompeii, and the night is uneasy. On the surface, it's ordinary enough. Taverns still echo with laughter, lamps glow in doorways, and the faint smell of roasted fish drifts out from kitchens. Yet if you pay attention, you notice something's off. The sky is unusually hazy, as if smoke is trying to blend with the stars. A soft tremor rattles a clay cup left on a windowsill, but the drunk soldier, stumbling home, blames it on too much wine. The dog chained outside a butcher's stall growls into the dark, hackles raised, staring at nothing you can see. In Roman culture, the heavens were never just decoration. They were an announcement board written by the gods. A shooting star, a red-tinged moon, or even the strange silence of birds could be read as messages, warnings, promises, or punishments. Tonight, people are reading everything, even shadows, as signs. Some whisper that the gods are unsettled. Others mutter that Jupiter himself, the king of the gods, is sharpening thunderbolts on his heavenly anvil. Historians still argue whether any unusual natural events truly happened the night before the eruption. Ancient writers, especially Pliny the Younger, described the eruption itself in detail but left the prelude vague. Did the sky truly glow red? Did animals behave strangely? Or did storytellers, looking back later, dress the night in omens to make the disaster feel inevitable? We'll never know. But as you stroll these cobbled streets, you feel the city tightening like a knot, as if everyone already senses what tomorrow will bring. You pass a small shrine wedged between two houses. Candles flicker against the face of a clay goddess, Fortuna perhaps, her painted eyes wide and watchful. Offerings clutter the altar, tiny loaves of bread, figs, a bronze coin placed carefully as if bribing fate. A woman kneels, whispering, and her child tugs nervously at her sleeve, wanting to go home. For ordinary Romans, household gods were guardians, always hungry for little gifts. On nights like this, people doubled their offerings, hoping small gestures could hold back great disasters. A little farther down the lane, two men huddle in low conversation. "Did you hear it?" one asks. The ground shivered, just for a moment. His companion scoffs. "Earthquakes happen all the time. This is Campania. It's the land of quakes." And he's not wrong. The Bay of Naples had trembled before, badly enough that cracks split temples and walls. To some, that made the danger ordinary, part of the scenery. But to others, it made every rumble a threat waiting to explode. Quirky tidbit: ancient Romans didn't really understand volcanoes. The word itself, volcano, comes from Vulcan, the god of fire and metalwork. People thought mountains like Vesuvius were the chimneys of his forge, spewing smoke when he hammered away beneath the earth. So when Pompeians saw smoke drifting lazily from the peak, some shrugged it off as divine business as usual. Others, though, whispered nervously, wondering if the god was working on something meant for them. You move toward the Forum, the open square at Pompeii's heart. Statues of emperors and gods loom pale in the lamplight, their marble faces catching firelight from nearby stalls. The place should feel grand, but tonight it feels like a stage waiting for its actors. Vendors pack up their goods, jars of olives, baskets of pomegranates, amphorae of wine, but their movements are quick, clipped. They want to get home before midnight. Even the chatter is muted, as though voices themselves are heavy. A stray cat darts between your feet, then freezes, ears pressed flat. It stares toward Vesuvius, where the black outline of the mountain cuts sharp against the sky. For a moment, you'd swear you saw a faint red glow at the summit. Maybe fire, maybe imagination. You blink and it's gone, leaving only the silent, hulking shadow of the volcano. You lean against a wall, breathing in the night. Pompeii is a city alive, streets busy with gossip, homes warm with lamplight, bathhouses echoing with laughter. Yet beneath it all, there's a rhythm like a drumbeat, faint but insistent. A reminder that tomorrow, history will ink this city's name in ash. The wind shifts, carrying with it a smell you can't quite place. Sulfur, sharp and sour, threading through the ordinary scents of bread, smoke, and sweat. A man walking past wrinkles his nose, muttering that the air tastes wrong. His wife hushes him, quickening her pace. To call attention to omens too loudly was to tempt them into reality. As you wander deeper into the streets, the lanterns burn lower, shadows stretching longer. The laughter from taverns fades into silence, leaving only the crunch of sandals on stone and the distant bark of a restless dog. Pompeii is going to sleep, or at least pretending to, but you can't shake the sense that the whole city is holding its breath, waiting for something vast and unstoppable to make itself known. You wake again into the stillness of Pompeii's night, but this time you're stepping inside the homes of its people, where the hush is even thicker than the streets outside. Past the tiled threshold, the noise of the city muffles, and all you hear are soft breaths, the crackle of dying embers, the scuff of bare feet across mosaic floors. For a moment, you could almost believe nothing unusual waits on the horizon. But if you linger, you notice the edges, the way shadows stretch a little too far, the way people seem to move with unease, like even their dreams are restless. In a villa near the Forum, lamps glow against painted walls. Frescoes of gods, Venus with her flowing hair, Mars gleaming with spear and shield, stare down from plaster, their colors dulled in the wavering light. A servant boy shuffles past, balancing a jug of watered wine. His hands tremble so badly you expect the liquid to spill. Maybe he's just young, or maybe even the lowliest members of the household feel that strange heaviness pressing down tonight. Historians still argue whether this tension is something Romans actually sensed or whether later writers, eager for drama, painted it backward into the story. Either way, you can almost hear the villa's walls holding their breath. In the triclinium, the dining room, a wealthy man reclines on a couch, sleepless. He toys with a roll of parchment, but he isn't reading. His eyes drift to the ceiling, unfocused. His wife sits beside him, murmuring softly about her dreams. She describes a rooftop crumbling, a statue toppling, flames in the courtyard. You'd expect a Roman statesman to laugh such things away, but he doesn't. He squeezes her hand absently, muttering, "Dreams are dreams." Yet his jaw tightens, and the silence between words feels heavier than the words themselves. Romans took dreams seriously, often consulting interpreters who claimed to decode their hidden meanings. Quirky tidbit. One ancient dream manual claimed that dreaming of bread was a good omen. It meant prosperity and safety. But dreaming of collapsing buildings? That was a cosmic red flag, an omen of death or disaster. So while this husband shrugs, you can see it in his face. He doesn't really believe his own dismissal. You step back out into the courtyard, the open-air heart of the house. Moonlight spills across marble columns, lighting up statues of household gods, Laras and Penates, frozen mid-gesture as though they're listening, too. The fountain gurgles faintly, its water rippling with the night breeze. Two guards lean against a wall at the far side. One rubs his eyes, the other fiddles with a small charm carved from bone. They whisper about omens they've heard, birds shrieking in daylight, a horse refusing its food. Rome collected omens the way children collect stones, and tonight the pile is high. Historians debate whether Vesuvius gave warning signs before the eruption. Some argue there must have been tremors, sulfurous smells, animals fleeing. Others claim Pompeians were so accustomed to quakes that they dismissed the signs until it was too late. You watch the guards' tense shoulders, the way they glance toward the mountain, and you wonder, did they know? Did they choose not to know? Farther down the street, you slip into a humbler home. A baker's family sleeps on mats, though one boy stirs restlessly. Flour still dusts his hair, and his eyes are wide open, staring at the rafters. He whispers to his sister that the stars look strange tonight. She hushes him, turning away. But you glance through the window and see what he means. The sky feels hazier than it should, a faint glow clinging near the mountain's peak. Is it firelight? Is it mist? Your mind can't quite decide. You wander to the edge of another villa, where a courtyard garden smells faintly of olive oil lamps and damp stone. A man paces, muttering under his breath. He drags his fingers along the wall as if touch will ground him. His toga hangs loosely, making him look less like a dignitary and more like a man weighted by choices. He whispers names, friends, rivals, senators, gods. His household staff pretend not to notice, their eyes sliding away, but their silence betrays them. Even in sleep, the city knows something is coming. Quirky fact: Romans often believed epilepsy was a sign of divine favor, the gods briefly touching a person. So when someone powerful showed signs of illness or trembling, it could be twisted either way, proof of blessing or proof of weakness. You imagine Pompeii's elite lying awake, wondering which side the gods will take if the earth itself begins to shake. As the night drags on, the household fires burn lower. The murmur of whispers fades into half-dreaming silence. Yet you feel it in the air. The villa, the tavern, the humble shop, they all seem to hold their breath together, as though the entire city is waiting for something vast and irreversible to announce itself. You lean against a doorway, watching a lamp gutter. The flame sputters twice, then steadies. But for that instant, you swear it flickered in warning. And so, while most of Pompeii drifts into uneasy sleep, you stand awake in the thick of it, feeling the weight of dawn drawing closer. Somewhere in the rafters, a bird rustles its wings, restless, as if it too knows what tomorrow will bring. The hours tilt deeper into night, and you find yourself drawn back outside, into Pompeii's open streets where shadows sprawl across cracked stone. The city feels different now, like the air itself is restless, as though the wind carries whispers that no one wants to give shape to. You move beneath the looming columns of temples, their carvings of Jupiter, Mars, and Venus glaring down, lit unevenly by sputtering torches. Every flicker of light throws the gods into motion, and you half expect them to start speaking. The moon above is hazy, wrapped in a halo that shouldn't be there. A servant rushing home pauses, pitcher in hand, muttering that the sky looks wrong. To Romans, the heavens were a giant message board. Every shadow, every streak of light meant something. Historians still argue whether unusual celestial events, like a partial solar eclipse near this period, fueled Pompeii's sense of dread. Whether or not the timing lines up, one truth is certain. Romans were experts at finding messages in the sky, especially when fear already lurked in their bones. Near a small shrine, you see a cluster of priests huddled around a brazier. Their robes are rough, their voices low as they chant. They toss herbs into the flames, smoke curling upward, bitter and sweet. The crowd around them presses closer, murmuring Prodigia Avertite. Turn away these portents. One priest lifts a small bird, dropping it onto the coals. The squeal is sharp, cut short, and the smell that rises is sharper still. Romans didn't shy away from sacrifice, especially when they thought the gods were hinting at disaster. Quirky tidbit: Roman soothsayers sometimes divined the future using sacred chickens. Yes, chickens. If the birds ate hungrily, it was a good sign. If they refused food, it was practically an alarm bell. And one old account whispers that, on the night before Vesuvius roared, the sacred birds wouldn't touch their grain. To you it sounds trivial, but to them, that was thunder without sound, a dagger without blade. You keep walking. A tavern door creaks open and a few men step into the street, voices hushed but urgent. One swears he saw a phantom figure in the forum, crowned with laurel, dripping blood. His companion scoffs, but even as he scoffs, his hand pulls his cloak tighter. Fear is contagious, and tonight, the infection spreads faster than wine. From the slope of the Capitoline Hill, the city unfolds before you. Torchlight winks in scattered clusters, like nervous fireflies. The Tiber snakes dark and silent, as if it too has swallowed its voice. You imagine senators awake in their homes, pacing marble floors, debating whether to cling to loyalty or ambition. Some sharpen daggers, others sharpen excuses. You wonder if anyone sleeps easy tonight. At the base of the hill, a knot of women cling to one another. They whisper about strange noises, phantom hoofbeats, trumpet calls from the sky, the ground humming underfoot. Historians dismiss such accounts as exaggerations, the usual embroidery added after tragedy. But you stand here, feeling the cobblestones under your sandals, and swear you can almost catch the vibrations. Perhaps it's imagination, or perhaps it's the mountain clearing its throat. You pause, remembering Calpurnia's dreams. You can't help but connect the dots, her nightmares of collapse, the priest's sacrifices, the haloed moon. Even the cats are gone tonight, the usual alley lurkers silent as stone. It's as though the animals, wiser than men, have gone on strike until the world settles. Back near a villa wall, you notice a cloaked figure lingering in shadow. He isn't a servant. You can feel calculation in the way he stands, too still, too sharp. When footsteps echo down the street, he melts into the darkness, gone without trace. Was he a spy, a messenger, or just another sleepless Roman caught in the undertow of dread? The night won't answer. The wind shifts, carrying smoke and something sharper, almost metallic. Maybe blacksmiths are working late. Or maybe your imagination is getting ahead, already smelling blood. The torches flicker hard in the gust, shadows stretching like claws across the walls. You realize the night doesn't feel like time passing anymore. It feels like a stage being dressed, props arranged, curtains trembling before the first act. By the time the horizon begins to soften with dawn, you've wandered enough alleys, temples, and whispers to last a lifetime. The city seems strung tight, like a bow waiting for the arrow. And you know the shot is coming, whether anyone is ready or not. The first pale streaks of dawn slide across Pompeii's tiled roofs, and you feel the city stretch itself awake like some massive animal shaking off the night. The air is cooler now, sharp in your lungs, and the streets are alive with the creak of shutters swinging open. Bakers drag sacks of flour into their shops, muscles straining, and the faint smell of smoke curls from early hearths. Bread is promised within the hour. On the surface, it's just another Roman morning. But beneath it all, there's a vibration in the air, a collective quiver, as if the world itself knows today won't be ordinary. You drift beside a senator's litter as slaves hoist him down the narrow road. Inside, the man mutters, lips moving with the urgency of someone practicing lines or calming his own nerves. His fist clenches a roll of parchment, maybe legislation, maybe words he'll never have the courage to voice aloud. His toga is spotless, but sweat beads at his hairline. Every so often he peeks out, eyes darting like a thief's. As the city stirs, conversations rise and overlap. Two merchants quarrel over prices until one drops his voice. Did you hear? The omens last night were terrible. His companion shrugs, dismissing omens as country superstition. And yet, even he hesitates, a crease in his brow betraying the thought he can't quite shake, that perhaps the gods are restless. Romans were like that, balancing logic and superstition with the same hands. Quirky tidbit. Most households kept their own small guardian gods, the Lares. Little figurines, often clay or bronze, watched over the family. On mornings like this, many families doubled their offerings. Wine splashed onto the floor, bits of cake left on the table, just in case. You imagine nearly half of Pompeii doing the same right now, their kitchens brimming with whispered prayers. Closer to the forum, the noise swells. Stalls rattle open, merchants shouting their wares with extra enthusiasm, as if volume might push dread aside. A man plucks at a lyre, badly, his rhythm off, as though he's trying to drown his own thoughts. A donkey brays, startling a child who buries her face in her mother's tunic. The ordinary and the extraordinary collide, weaving a strange tension. The city is playing background music for a scene it doesn't know is about to unfold. When you circle back towards Caesar's villa, yes, even here in Pompeii, wealthy homes echo the same unease. You notice the household already at work. Servants sweep the floors, polish bronze lamps, lay out garments. But there's stiffness in their movements, like actors reading lines they no longer believe in. Calpurnia lingers in the doorway, eyes rimmed red from a sleepless night. She clutches her husband's arm, begging again, stay home. The words repeat like a ritual, as though repetition might shift fate itself. Caesar strokes her hand, murmurs reassurances, But silence falls heavier than any comfort. Historians still argue about this moment. Plutarch records that Calpurnia's dream was terrifying, the roof collapsing, her husband stabbed in her arms. She begged him to remain. For a time, he wavered. Imagine history pivoting right there, balance hanging on a whispered plea. But pride, or perhaps stubbornness, tipped the scale back. To stay home was to appear weak. To go was to prove he bowed to nothing. Caesar paces like a caged animal, caught between superstition and statesmanship. He mutters about the Senate needing him, about the Republic watching. His voice is firm, but his eyes betray flickers of hesitation. When his attendant enters with the day's schedule, Caesar waves off his wife's protests. The decision is made, or maybe forced. And then Decimus arrives. A friend, or at least he wears that mask well. He strides in with practiced cheer, scolding Caesar lightly, joking that the senators might call him arrogant if he doesn't attend. His laughter rings loud, polished, almost rehearsed. You can see the tug, the subtle pull of manipulation hooking into Caesar's resolve. Some scholars argue Decimus was the final push that sealed Caesar's fate. Watching him here, you'd believe it. Outside, the city thrums louder. Carts rumble across cobblestones. Citizens flow toward the forum, toward errands, toward destiny. You notice how the streets all seem to funnel toward Pompey's theater, as if even the very stones conspire to deliver Caesar into the jaws of history. Finally, Caesar dons his toga, straightens his posture, and steps into the sunlight. The crowd erupts in cheers, some voices bright with admiration, others dull with routine. To many, he is still the man of Gaul, the commander who forgave enemies, the leader who shaped Rome with a gesture. To others, he is already a tyrant in waiting. The irony clings heavy in the air. Loyalty and loathing mix freely, and Caesar cannot tell them apart. The litter is readied. Caesar pauses, tilts his gaze skyward. The morning sun slices through the clouds, blinding and sharp. You wonder if he feels it too, the invisible weight of history pressing down on his shoulders, the knowledge that he steps into a day written in blood. He exhales, climbs into the litter, and commands it forward. The bearers lift. The crowd parts. Fingers reach to graze the hem of his toga, some seeking blessing, others watching silently, unreadable. You trail behind the procession, your heart sinking under the inevitability. The wheels of the world are turning, and nothing will stop them now. The procession wends its way toward Pompey's theater, and the city tightens around you like a knot pulled too hard. The sun is fully risen now, burning away the night's chill, but the warmth doesn't reach the air. It's brittle, like glass that could crack with a single sound. Every creak of the litter's frame, every sandal scrape on the stone, echoes as if the world itself is amplifying the drumbeat of inevitability. You glance at Caesar's profile, steady, sculpted, a mask carved from marble. From this angle, he could be the statue of a conqueror, untouchable and eternal. But you've seen the other side of him, the restless pacing in the night, the flicker of doubt in Calpurnia's eyes, the moment of hesitation when her dreams spilled fear across the threshold. His calm now is an act, a costume he wears as tightly as his toga. Pride is armor, and today he fastens it over his chest like a breastplate, hoping it can turn invisible blades. The forum swells with voices. Some citizens shout blessings, their hands lifted high. Others murmur prayers quietly, as if afraid the gods might overhear and judge. A beggar thrusts his hand forward. Caesar pauses, always aware of the theater of gesture, and tosses him a coin. The coin lands with a glint, and the crowd ripples. To some, it is kindness, proof of his generosity. To others, it is nothing more than performance, another move on the stage. Historians still argue whether such small acts revealed his heart or were just politics. But to the man clutching the coin, belly growling, it makes no difference. And then, looming at last, are the great steps of Pompey's theater. It is an odd place for Senate business, a building designed for plays, not politics. But when fire damaged the Curia, here the Senate found its stage. The irony is suffocating. The final scene of Caesar's life will unfold in a theater, as if fate itself demanded tragedy were it's masked properly. Inside, towering over the chamber, stands the statue of Pompey, the man Caesar defeated, the rival whose shadow still lingers, frozen in stone. Soon, Caesar will fall beneath that gaze. The symbolism is so sharp it feels almost scripted. The litter halts. Caesar steps down, his sandals striking stone with a thud that seems to reverberate longer than it should. Senators swarm toward him, their smiles wide, too wide. Greetings overlap, voices honeyed with respect that tastes like poison. They close in, a tide of togas, hands reaching for his shoulders, his arms. To the casual observer, it looks like affection, loyalty, honor. To you, it looks like wolves circling, each touch a test of distance, each glance a calculation of timing. You follow him inside, and the light changes. The morning sun fades as the theater swallows sound and color, leaving a dim hush where footsteps whisper across stone. The senators press tighter, guiding him toward the chamber. Their hands linger too long, friendly yet possessive, concealing the steel beneath their folds of fabric. You feel the trap closing, the chain tightening link by link, until there's no space left. Caesar glances up at the statue of Pompeii, and for an instant, the mask slips. Perhaps he feels the irony too. Perhaps he sees the cruel joke written in marble, that the man he once crushed now watches, unblinking, as history circles back for revenge. His face softens for a breath, as though he realizes, in that split second, that he is standing not in a Senate house, but on the edge of legend. And then the circle hardens around him. Historians debate endlessly about what happens next. Did Caesar recognize Brutus in that final instant? Did he actually say those words that every schoolchild learns? "Et tu, Brute?" Some claim he gasped them, a final plea of betrayal. Others insist he said nothing at all, only pulled his toga over his face, choosing dignity over sound. The truth is probably lost, scattered among the blood and chaos. But standing here, in this suspended breath before the first blade arcs downward, you understand that the words themselves don't matter. What matters is the silence, the inhale before history snaps forward. You step back. You don't follow him into the chamber. You don't need to. You already know how the scene ends. The sound of sandals scraping, the rustle of togas, the faint clink of a dagger slipping free. These are enough to tell you that the curtain is about to rise. The city itself holds its breath, and tomorrow's textbooks already reach for their ink. You drift away from the theater, letting the walls dissolve into sunlight and noise. Outside, life continues. Bakers pull bread from ovens. Children chase one another down alleyways. Merchants haggle over figs and olives. To them, nothing has changed, not yet. But for you, who has already seen the shadow cast across the marble floors, the air is thicker, heavier, swollen with blood not yet spilled. And so, the night before has given way fully to morning. You stand at the edge of history, teetering between what was and what will be. You have walked Rome's streets, glimpsed Caesar's unease, traced omens in the stars, and brushed shoulders with those who will decide his fate. Now, stepping back into your own quiet room, into your own bed, you carry with you the hush of that final night, as though the whispers of ancient Rome still trail after you. The lamps dim, the crowd fades, the story folds itself closed. Marble columns blur into shadow, voices soften into echoes, until there is nothing left but quiet.